What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the Wager Alarm live stream. I'm Howard Bender. With me, of course, Craig Mish. It's Friday night. It's time to place our picks for both the Westgate Super Contest and the Golden Nugget Ultimate Football Challenge. Craig, coming off of a great week last week for us,
Yes.
and some very interesting injuries and line movement that we've seen now over the course of the week. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm trying to high five you there through the screen. Can you? Very good. There you go.
A fist bump, right? Bam. Ba-doom, ba-doom, ba-doom.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, we're closing out college football here a little bit. We've got, I think, 2 more weeks left. 2 more weeks left of college, and then it's just pro football the rest of the way.
Except
So
for
we're
our
gonna
big
try
bowl
and-
game extravaganza.
Oh, the bowls. Oh my gosh. Are we doing every bowl again this year?
Every bowl. Every bowl.
Every bowl. All right. So
Every bowl.
I mean, last year there was only like 30. I think there'll be like 40 this year. So yeah, we'll do that on a live stream to be determined pretty soon, actually. And next week's a huge rivalry week. So you usually got to be really careful in that week. I usually know how that goes, taking a lot of underdogs. The following week will be championship week. So actually, we do have this week of college football, next week, and then championship week the week after that. So we really do have three. But in general, in looking at the games, you're going to see for us some familiar teams we're taking this week. We're also sticking with one of the trends that we have gone with. We're going with 5 college picks again in the Golden Nugget contest, and trying to see if we can pull off another 5-2.
All right. Well, let's get it started here with the college games that we like. Start off with Virginia Tech getting 8 points against University of Miami. Their coach got fired. Here we go, Craig. That's our narrative, right? Coach gets fired. Team usually covers or wins outright afterward. So
Yeah, I think almost all outright wins, if I'm not mistaken, this season. But yeah, Justin Fuente was let go. I mean, what business do the Miami Hurricanes have being 8-point favorites over anybody in college football after they've been losing all season? Their head coach, Manny Diaz, probably going to get fired. They lost to Florida State in the last minute of the game last week. I understand Virginia Tech is horrible this year, but I mean, we're going to go right back to the well with these picks where we've been taking the team to sort of be inspired a little bit. Little bit of a concern that it's toward the end of the year and it doesn't matter nearly as much because Virginia Tech is not going to a bowl game this year. But 8 points, they lose by a touchdown, we win. So look for that to happen. Take Virginia Tech.
Taking Virginia Tech. All right, we're going to stay in that sort of region there. West Virginia, they're a 3-point favorite over Texas, and we are leaning on that West Virginia side here. I mean, what are your thoughts here? Didn't they just lose to Kansas?
Texas lost to Kansas. They've lost 5 games in a row. The line right now is actually West Virginia minus 2.5. I can't figure out why money is coming in on Texas. I guess there's just people going against a streak. But Bijan Robinson, who's probably the second best running back in the country, I would say Michigan State's running back is probably number 1. He's going to miss this game. Steve Sarkisian, the head coach, who was Alabama's offensive coordinator last year, he got hired to a multi-year contract with the Texas Longhorns. He's already received a vote of confidence that he's going to be back next season. They would still be eligible for a bowl if they won, but West Virginia is in the same spot. So, just in general, Texas 1-3 as against the spread on the road this season and losing 5 games in a row. I'm not about to buck that trend. So it's and with the way that they played last week against arguably a bottom 5 team in all of college football, you just have to think that West Virginia will have just simply enough to win this game. So we'll take West Virginia. Could be close, but definitely do like them and like Texas to lose 6 in a row. And I don't know. I think Howard Sarkisian could be in trouble, which would mean Texas will be on their 3rd straight year of a new head coach and their 4th head coach, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, in 5 years. Oh, no, Tom Herman was there for, I think, 3, so 6 years. Charlie Strong, Tom Herman, Steve Sarkisian, and then whoever. But this has been a massively, massively disappointing season. And Howard, listen, you don't need to know a ton about college football to know the amount of money that goes into that Texas program.
Yep.
And playing in that conference, which is not a great conference, there is no excuse for them to lose 5 games in a row ever over the course of the season. I understand they don't have a quarterback. I get that. But brutal loss to Kansas last week. Biggest win for Kansas maybe since they played in the Orange Bowl, and I was at that game. like 10 years ago, at least.
All right. Well, listen, I like the pick here. West Virginia, obviously fading bad teams like that. It's a trend that we're going to touch on in a little bit as well. But I want to talk more about Utah against Oregon. We've taken the Utes a couple of times this year. They've been very good to us. I think only
Yep.
one loss, and I think we've taken them 3 or 4 times already over the course of the season. Only one disappointment. They've got the chance to win that Pac-12 South right now. Really stick it to Oregon with this one here. We like them laying 3.5.
Yeah, if there's anything that we've learned about this season is that the biggest danger that you could have is being ranked in the top 10 because the top 10 has changed more this year than I can ever remember. Now, Georgia's been number one pretty much almost from start to finish, so that hasn't changed. But 2 through 10 has just been a revolving door for the most part. And Utah really has a chance, I think, to win this conference this season. They're unquestionably the best offensive line in the country. They rushed for 441 yards last week against Stanford, almost 300 against UCLA. They also have the best defense in the conference as well. And Oregon, when they started off the season, the first 4 or 5 games, I mean, they definitely looked like a championship contender. And I know that they've squeaked out a lot of wins, but they have really struggled against some of the teams in the conference. And, they basically are just giving Oregon, I think the line is now down to 3. We may be laying 3.5, I think, in the contest. I think it is 3. And they're basically just telling you that the teams are even and Utah is only laying 3 because they're at home. I don't really believe that. I think Utah is the best team in the Pac-12 this season. I think Oregon is the next team to go down. They're only 4-6 against the spread, so that sort of tells you that a team that's ranked so high with chances to play in that college football playoff. I mean, how many teams finish in the playoff with a losing record against the spread over the course of the whole season? That's just and it's not Alabama like laying 1,000,000 points every week either. So we'll take Utah to finish off their season in this conference on a high note, play for the Pac-12 championship with a chance to play in the Rose Bowl on January 1st.
All right, so we got Virginia Tech, we got West Virginia, we got Utah. Next game there, we're looking at UCLA. Here we go. It's UCLA -3 against USC. We're talking about rivalry games. This definitely fits in as a rivalry game. The line now, though, it's 3.5. So we are actually on that right side, not having to deal with that hook.
Yeah, Dorian Thompson-Robinson is UCLA's quarterback, and Keaton Slovis was USC's quarterback. They've been playing this freshman lately, but you remember, several weeks ago, USC fired their head coach. They won that first game big over Washington State when that happened, but since then they just really haven't been that good. UCLA had a little dip in their season when Dorian Thompson-Robinson got hurt, but now he is back, and they throttled Colorado. And this is definitely Chip Kelly's best season at UCLA. They also have aspirations of playing in the Rose Bowl. It's an uphill battle for them, but it is not impossible for that to happen. They must win this game. It is their biggest rival, no question, when they're playing in the Rose Bowl in this game, USC versus UCLA in that stadium in Pasadena. This game was supposed to happen last week, but there were some COVID issues, so they pushed this game a week ahead. And USC has beaten UCLA 2 games in a row. I think that this is finally the year that UCLA gets right. USC has really dominated this series over the years, but this is probably the worst USC team we've seen in quite some time. So another short line, -3. Again, I expect a close game. This is not one that I would think is a blowout, but I do think the Bruins come out on top, and Chip Kelly, this will be his 7th win this season if they can win this game.
You want a big line? We can go with a big line if you want. I'll tell you what. Last game, we flash it back to last week where North Texas got us the win. Their line was flipping back and forth with their game. We also faded FIU, Florida International, as one of the absolute worst teams in the world. So we get to combine both this week here, and we take North Texas, lay in 10 points. So there's your big line over FIU, arguably the worst team in all of football right now.
Yeah, I feel bad that we weren't able to fade this for several weeks because I don't know why I picked up on this so late in the season, but you're right. FIU, they were down like 31-0 at the half. They lost 50-10 or something like that. This will be Butch Davis's, I think he's coaching the game. I'm not even sure. Butch Davis's last game as head coach of the FIU Golden Panthers. Mean Green 4-1 against the spread in their last 5. FIU has lost listen to this, by an average, Howard, of 27 points per game in their last 6 games in a row. And this line is North Texas -10. So pretty simply, we're just going to fade the Golden Panthers once more. We won't get to do this again after this week because their season will end. Actually, I think they play FAU, if I'm not mistaken, maybe. Florida Atlantic. I don't know when the Shula Bowl is. Maybe they played it already. I don't know. North Texas -10. One of the hotter teams in the country, actually. So we'll take the Mean Green.
Take the Mean Green. There you go. All right, so those are our 5 games right there. We like UCLA. We like North Texas. We like West Virginia. We like Virginia Tech. And we like Utah. So let's move it on over here. Let's talk about the pro games that we've decided to use for the Golden Nugget. And the first one we go to, the Colts. We talked about this game on Thursday. Colts getting 7 against Buffalo. I mean, listen, Buffalo, great team, strong team, good solid defense. But they've given up points, and they've played some close games against better offenses. I mean, whatever. The game against Jacksonville, blah. I didn't even like, games against Miami that they played early on in the season. But, this Colts offense can play decent ball, and I'm not worried about weather, cold, anything like that with Carson Wentz and the crew here. So I think that the Colts keep this one nice and close. This is one that you liked a lot on Tuesday.
Yeah, I think this is probably my favorite pick of the week. I think that when I look at this game, I see the Colts as never. They should never be a touchdown favorite in an NFL game. They're above average team. Now maybe they don't deserve to be 10-point favorites over Jacksonville. I think we learned that last week. Maybe their style of play is just not conducive to blowing teams out. And who did Indianapolis blow out? The Jets. Who did Buffalo blow out? The Jets. But other than that, Buffalo hasn't blown anybody out.
Wow,
it's been
man, come on, man. That's it's so mean. Why you gotta be so mean?
Sorry, the Jets are just not that good, Howard. But I think Indy can win this game, no question. They're going to run the ball. They're going to control the clock. The Bills are the better team, but they're as you said, the weather does not seem to be a huge factor in this one. And in terms of looking at power ratings, I mean, the Colts are probably 3 or 4 points worse than Buffalo. How are they 7 in this game? I really don't understand. It seems like a lot of points, so we'll take the Colts +7. I can't sit here and predict they beat them outright. I mean, that's a big ask, but it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me to see the Colts win. What has Buffalo really shown the last 2 months?
Looking back at their past games, they blew out the Jets. They lost to the Jaguars. They beat the Dolphins by 15, but then they lost to the Titans. They beat the Chiefs by 18. That was big. They beat the Texans by 40. Mm-hmm. They doubled up the Washington football team. They shut out a bunch
of nobodies all year, except for Kansas City.
That's the thing. They beat up on a bunch of nobodies here. They got that win against Kansas City, but you put them against, a team like the Titans. They really, this schedule, it's really kind of funny. They really have not played. And they lost to the Steelers in week 1. The Steelers, arguably not a great team at all.
Well, let's not say that. I think they're good. We're taking them this week.
They're good enough because we're taking them against the Chargers at home. And this is just a matter of, because listen, I can sit here and I can talk about the Steelers and TJ Watt being out and stuff like that. This is a trend that seems to hit on a regular basis for us. And it doesn't matter if these are your daddy's Chargers or not your daddy's Chargers. These Chargers, when they're favored by 3 points or more at home, blow it. They don't cover the spread. Their numbers against the spread, like that are terrible. Terrible. Yeah, so we're taking the Steelers.
Yeah, they're well below 50%. Steelers getting points here. What is Roethlisberger's status, by the way, in this game?
He's still on reserve COVID list. They have not announced him. I mean, they just pulled off Nick Chubb. So, they're probably just being slow and cautious. But again, is Big Ben that much better than Mason Rudolph at this point right now?
Probably
is
not.
He?
Probably not.
I don't think he is.
Harris is a really good running back, and he'll keep them in the game. And that's kind of the problem with the Steelers is that you just don't want to be laying a lot of points with Pittsburgh because they're going to play to their competition each week. They're going to slow the game down. Now, look, there's always that chance with the Chargers that they have the ball 4th and 3 and they go for it 3 times and get it and blow a team out. We saw that in September. That's what they did. They kept going for it on 4th down, and Staley's the genius. He goes for it on 4th. He makes it, and now he doesn't get it anymore, and everyone's like, oh, well, it just happens. But you're right, Howard. It's a wonderful trend to fade the Chargers, whether they're in San Diego or LA, as a favorite. They generally do not cover. And, look, some of the mistakes that happened under Anthony Lynn are not happening with this team now. I'll give them that. But they do feel to me like a team that we've seen the best of their season already. So I got the Chargers at the end of the season like 9-8. And they're going to have to struggle to get in the playoffs. But look, they can beat anyone on any given day. That is true. I also expect this week to have the most road fans, maybe of any game this season. And I'm including Green Bay, anywhere they go. Pittsburgh fans are going to be packed in LA to see their team play this week against the Chargers. There's no question. It's going to be a Pittsburgh fan base.
All right. Good. That, again, another great point to make when we sit there and we look at that. It was an interesting point you made about teams in Vegas too, playing over there. So, yeah. All right. So there it is. Our college picks are Virginia Tech, West Virginia, Utah, UCLA, and North Texas. We're taking the Colts and the Steelers to round it out. 7-0. Boom, boom.
7-0. There it is.
Love it. For the Super Contest, here we go. 5 games. We're double dipping on the Colts. We're double dipping on the Steelers. We're taking both those games. The spreads are the same in both the Nugget and the
got it.
And the Super Contest. Of the games that we took, the only game that didn't have the same spread actually from one to the other is actually the Saints game. Right? So we're taking the Saints against the Eagles. They're getting 2 points on the road. Very similar to what went down last week. No Alvin Kamara again, but they didn't have Alvin Kamara last week either. As long as the refs aren't in it on against them for the penalties, I could see the Saints turning around and beating Philly in this one.
Yeah, Philly's kind of due for a loss, I think, at this point. They've kind of played above their heads a lot. And look, New Orleans defense is going to keep them in the game, and that's been the story of their season. I don't think they're a good team. We don't even need them to win this game. Philadelphia has played so many close games this season.
So many close games. All right, the other games there. So Colts, Saints, Steelers. The Bears. This is going to be an interesting one.
No one wants to take the Bears. No one wants to take.
No one. Well,
we'll do it for you.
But here's the thing, though. Nobody wants to take the Bears. But we talked about the fact that we need to go a little bit contrarian because we've got some ground to make up for our miss.
Right.
And last week, everybody and their grandma took the Titans. We took the Saints. So we won that one. And, you gain a little bit of ground each time when you do that. So here we are going up, with the Bears, taking on the Ravens. And Lamar Jackson is fine, apparently. He's back. Marquise Brown's still questionable, but they're going to get Latavius Murray back in their backfield. Meanwhile, the Bears, no Khalil Mack, right. No Akeem Hicks. They're both out. Allen Robinson sounds like he's doubtful, but they don't throw the ball to Robinson anyway.
Right.
So the line is now sitting at 6 right now. We are only getting 5, but we're still taking the Bears.
Yeah, have the Ravens covered as a favorite this season?
I think they're like 1-4 as a favorite this season.
Yeah, and again, they may win this game, but I really feel like the Bears in their last game against Pittsburgh, in that insane game, I really feel like they figured out the recipe with Fields. I really think that you're going to start to see him play much better the rest of the season. They're sort of letting him freelance and run around, which is what they should have been doing since the beginning of the year. Again, my theory on Baltimore, I've said it many times here on the stream, and I'll say it again. I every week the Ravens are an underdog. You don't even have to ask me. Just put them in because they got Tucker, and in a game where they're going to need points to cover, right. I know I got my kicker there. But as a favorite, it's a different story once a team is up 4. They're just trying to run out the clock at the end of the game. They're not trying to score. So I do think Chicago, and I believe they're 4-5 against the spread this season, so certainly that's not horrible. Playing at home, basically keep this game close with a chance to win. I do think sometimes when you look at teams that are favorites, you always want to think the other side could win the game outright, and I do. But I think I kind of envision this game being tied with 2 minutes to go. Lamar Jackson's got the ball, throws it downfield to the 7. Nagy's running all over the place, calling time. The Bears never have any timeouts at the end of games. We know this. They're mismanaging those timeouts like it feels like every week. And then, Tucker kicks a field goal. They win by 3, and that ends the game. So, Bears could win, but I do like taking points. And look, here is the truth, folks. If you've watched our live streams, we could easily pick a favorite this week. We could, but we'll lose. Okay, because favorites don't win betting in the NFL. 9 underdogs last week again. Until this trend normalizes or changes, as juicy as Cleveland looks this week, and as juicy as it looks like to fade the Jets, you can't do it. You gotta really be careful. They're not coming in.
And those are games right there again that everybody's gonna be on. And they're gonna take it. So if they're on the right side of it, they're on the right side of it, and they stay with the herd. If they're on the wrong side of it and we fade it, we come out a little bit better. Listen, I'm fine with that. I said to you, we're taking all dogs this week. So
that's my regret of the season thus far.
Not taking more dogs earlier.
It's just saying what we're going to do Tuesday and then not doing it when we get to it's crazy. By the way, I do want to acknowledge for the first time, for people probably who watched our stream, we did lose Thursday Night Football for the first time in a long time. I mean, it's probably been 4 or 5 games, but wow, were we on the wrong side on Thursday night. New England just pummeled Atlanta. I thought Atlanta would keep the game close for sure. I thought definitely had enough offense to keep the game close, and it was totally the wrong side there. So.
Listen, it was 13-0 for the longest time, and I was like, oh, okay, so Atlanta gets in, hopefully, and we get our backdoor covered. No, it didn't happen. It's all right. It's all right.
It didn't happen. But yeah, we got a huge week ahead of us next week. We'll be back Wednesday night.
We got one more game to talk about.
Oh, one more, sorry.
Right? Because we're taking the Colts +7, taking the Bears +5, we're taking the Saints +2, taking the Steelers +5.5.
What's the last one?
Oh, big battle of the NFC North. The Minnesota Vikings hosting the Green Bay Packers. Vikings getting 2. Here we go again. I mean, every game that they've played finishes up in like the last play of the game, and it keeps coming down to a field goal. So
that's a great point. Like think that through for a minute when you're betting on sports. If I told you were getting points with a team that is going down to the last minute, wouldn't you almost immediately say, give me the points? Like, you probably would in like every scenario if you knew. And that's been the case with Minnesota every game this season. I think we're very good with taking the Vikings, by the way, this year. We've been on them when they've won and not when they've lost. Zimmer, all of a sudden, Howard, starting to get aggressive with the play calling. That's what we've been waiting for all season long. They're relatively healthy. Green Bay did not look right last week.
They can run the ball, too. Run the ball with Dalvin Cook and kill that clock a little bit. Green Bay's defense like a run funnel right nowadays, right? They're giving up, almost 135 to 140 rushing yards per game. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, it's interesting, more maybe fantasy than reality. It feels to me, I don't know about you, it feels to me like A.J. Dillon is going to end up like Madison was without Cook last year, where like everyone is just making this assumption that A.J. Dillon's just going to be a star and he's going to do exactly what Aaron Jones did. I don't think so. I think he'll be okay, but he is not nearly as dynamic catching the ball out of the backfield as Jones is. So
No, he's definitely much more of a north and south runner, which is why with the games that he's been seeing the carries, Aaron Jones is still taking the pass catching work.
Yeah. Whoever the third string guy on Green Bay is, that would be a guy I'd look at in DFS this week. By the way, I don't know who it is, but I would bet that guy will play, whoever it is. Amon Green, is it?
Amon Green. It's a gentleman by the name of Patrick Taylor.
There it is, Patrick Taylor.
Patrick Taylor, a little rookie out of Memphis.
Don't know who that is. It's not Dorsey Levens. He's not Amon Green.
I remember when Craig was playing fantasy football, the entrance fee was a nickel.
Who was the running back before Aaron Jones? It's so crazy. We don't even know.
I
can think of one other running back.
Oh,
Najee Davenport?
yeah.
That was
Najee Davenport. They kept using Ty Montgomery in the mix there.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Whatever. Food for What are you doing this weekend?
But it's an interesting point, though. Like, you do bring up an interesting point, is that everybody thought that Madison was going to absolutely smash.
He
And
did
it
not.
took him a little while to get into it. When he took over for Cook this year, he was fine. He was fantastic.
Absolutely, much better. I think the numbers Dylan put up in the last game are going to be very similar in this game, where he carries the ball 20 times, rushes for 75 yards and a touchdown, which is nothing wrong with that. But I'm getting points against that. I'm gonna take that. So,
Yeah.
Any
I
big
like
plans the weekend? That's what I was asking.
Any big plans for the weekend? Really? Do
you not know me after 15 years?
Right? After how many years do you know that on Saturday I write the playbook for Fantasy Alarm, and when I finally wrap that up, it's late afternoon, and then I gotta go entertain the wife, and then Sunday is all day. I don't know. Do you obviously have some sort of interesting plans this weekend that you want to share?
Not really. Well, see, the problem is that we have this huge torrential downpour over the last 24 hours, so it's just an absolute wreck here. And the field that my son plays on in Broward County, if it takes rain the night before, it usually doesn't recover for the next day. So I'm guessing we're going to get rained out, which means just kind of wide open Saturday for me. And we just have to see what happens with the weather here tomorrow in order to do that. But we are having Thanksgiving here at my house, so that's something to prepare for.
This weekend?
No, next week.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm excited for us to be back here Wednesday night. We are committed to picking games for you guys on Thanksgiving Day. So we have three. Let me take a look real quick. I know that we have the 3 NFL games, but there's usually a good college game. Is the Egg Bowl on Thanksgiving night, or is that Friday night?
I have no idea. And that's actually a good reminder to everybody that we will not be here on Tuesday. We're just going to do one show on Wednesday. We're going to make our picks because we are going to include Thanksgiving games in our picks, and that means we have to get the picks in early on Wednesday. So do that. What's
the Egg Bowl is Thursday night.
The Egg Bowl's Thursday night?
Yeah, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. It is always an insane game. It's always 57-56. It is usually the best game of the week in college football. So that's Thursday night at 7:30 Eastern. We have 3 NFL games. Fresno State plays San Jose State for some reason in the afternoon in college. And then Ole Miss, Mississippi State is the night game. And I am telling you now, look out.
Taking the points.
I don't know, man. I don't know. This is we have to see what happens if Lane Kiffin leaves Ole Miss before this game or something like that. I don't know. We have to monitor that game before it happens. But take a look when you get a chance before next Wednesday at the final scores of Ole Miss, Mississippi State. This was the game, Howard. Do you remember? I don't know if it was last year or the year before, where oh gosh, boy, I hate to take one of the teams down. A player on one of the teams, remember they scored the game-winning touchdown, and then he faked urinating in the end zone, and then they moved the kicker back.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He did the dog thing that Odell Beckham did, right?
It's this game.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good game, man. It's going to be a really, really good game.
Cost his team the game there doing that. His team the game. I guess
Mississippi will be favored, but not by a lot. I can't see it. Yeah, Mississippi will be favored, but their head coach is Lane Kiffin. My buddy Andy Slater, he reported earlier this week that if Miami's job opened up, that Lane Kiffin would take it, and Miami's ending their season this week. So I don't know. I can't see him leaving before that game against Ole Miss or Mississippi State. So, but the NFL games kind of stink. So hopefully the college will be good.
All right. Well, there you go. So join us on Wednesday night as Craig and I go through and we give you all of our picks. No sense in even talking through the lines, right? We're just diving right in.
Wednesday. Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen. So big thank you to everybody here for joining us for the show. Big thank you to Matt Sells, our producer, for always doing such a great job on a Friday night. For Craig Mish, I'm Howard Bender. This has been the Wager Alarm live stream. We'll catch you next time.